What we've always been really good about is budgeting for Christmas in advance. And I really recommend doing that if you're not doing that now.
This Christmas, I'm excited to see how it's going to go because we're going to be more intentional about it. We are reeling it back in.
Holidays don't have to be stressful or putting this added pressure of all the things you have to do.
Or buy. It really kind of reels us in to be like, okay, what can I do to be more creative?
Hey guys, I'm Brittany Xavier.
And I'm Anthony Xavier.
And you're listening to The Long Game. Welcome back to The Long Game. Happy Thanksgiving. We are very excited to be eating some good food, celebrating together as a family, and we already have all our Christmas decor up. We do celebrate, we set up our Christmas decor November 1st, so it's Christmas as early as possible over here. And I don't regret it because by the time we take down our Christmas trees, it feels like we've really enjoyed them.
And I think we take them down like mid-January.
Yeah, I think it's a 2-month process.
Yeah.
But I want to share a scripture that we love, especially on Thanksgiving, Psalm 107:1. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, his love endures forever. And really having that thankful mindset, even about little things, really changes the state of your mental well-being.
Your perspective, for sure.
It's all about perspective. Your situation can be exactly the same, but you switch your thinking about it and focus on the parts that you're grateful for, and it really does make a positive impact.
We want to dive into creative ways to keep the holiday season fun, memorable, and budget-friendly.
We're wanting to really share our tips and what we've learned along the way to really creating those memories and traditions. Especially when your kids are little, you can start establishing some cute ideas now, and hopefully they'll remember them one day and look back on this time fondly.
Or even use them for their families too, and keep the tradition going. But let's be quite honest, we weren't always like this. Every year since we've gotten together, there was great years of budgeting, and then that lifestyle creep, how we spoken about in a previous episode, started happening, and Christmas kind of got a little carried away at times. And now reflecting on our lives, where we want to be, we really want to start incorporating ways and how can we revert back to the true meaning of Christmas.
And that Christmas, for us being believers, is that Jesus was born on his birthday. And I love the idea of the wise men giving him gifts. So we still want to have that generosity, but I do think that and we went through this last year when Poppy opened up a Christmas present in the very beginning of the morning, and she was so happy with that. It was a scooter. She was riding all around. And we had a pile of gifts still for her to open, but she was already having so much fun with the scooter. She wanted to go outside and play. Nice. After that, we reflected back on that and thought maybe we didn't have to buy as many gifts. She still had a great time. We were still doing the generosity and the fun of Santa in the morning. So I think after last year, we kind of took a step back and thought it was easy with Jaden when she was little. It was just her. We bought a lot of things, especially when the lifestyle creep really kicked in. Mm-hmm. But now with 2 other little ones, we're establishing these new traditions with them. After last year, Elliot was so little last year. He was a brand new baby. Taking a step back and thinking, what do we want going forward? And how do we want to frame Christmas? Because we do still want it to be about Jesus and the reason for the season.
That was nice.
I know. Do you love that? What we've always been really good about is budgeting for Christmas in advance. So we do have a line item on our budget where it's for Christmas spending. And I really recommend doing that if you're not doing that now. This can be something you can do in January when you review for the year and start your budget for 2025. But I really like this idea, even right now, reflecting on Thanksgiving, thinking how much you want to be able to spend and set those limits and stick to those limits. All right, this is a stat that I found really interesting. The average American plans to spend $1,063 on holiday-related purchases. And for families with multiple kids, that can feel really overwhelming, especially if you haven't budgeted for it.
So let's really dive into how are we going to create this budget. For us, we do it backwards to where we establish an amount for each child. Jaden's amount is a little bit higher than Poppy's and Elliot's just because she's older and some of her gifts just cost more. So once we establish that amount, we also think about the experiences. Every year we typically do the same thing, our family traditions. We go to the pumpkin patch.
For Thanksgiving? Or are you talking about just in general?
Just in general, because I'm thinking holiday season from mid-October to the end of the year. So if you're really trying to plan, like going to the pumpkin patch or
all those fun things.
Yeah, going to, like we go to Underwood Family Farms, so that's like a whole festival during October into November. You really want to take those experiences into account. How much did that actually cost? Along with having the gifts for your children for Christmas. And then what else do you typically plan in? If we do any Friendsgiving, so any dinners, because that costs money, decorations, food, etc. But if you look at the last couple of years, typically you do the same thing every year. You can kind of have an idea of where your budget is landing and then also plan in new experiences. So we go up from that approach to where we have our amounts that we would have typically have spent the previous years, and that's what would set our budget going forward.
And you really, really want to be thinking about this proactively because it's not worth going into debt over. And I think that there are some creative ways here that you can think about swapping that mentality of I need to buy something material in order to have a good gift. I thought this was a good idea. We're going to do this at our dinner later today. Ask your family what's one way we can make Christmas less about stuff and more about meaningful moments. See what stands out to the people that you love and get your ideas flowing. Black Friday, Cyber Monday is around the corner, and I know there's a lot of sales that are coming at you. I know my email inbox, I go nuts and I think I need to buy different things because this is the best price. But what I found has really helped me is making a list beforehand of what you're looking for that person.
But also it prevents you from overspending.
Right.
I think I got caught up last year when Amazon was doing their Black Friday, and you know how they have the deal, it's a deal, but you have X amount of time left. And I spent a ton of time just scrolling what do I need? What should I get? What should I get for Jaden or for you? But I didn't have a list. I didn't know exactly what I was looking for. And thus I just bought a bunch of random stuff that
you didn't even really use, I feel like.
Yeah, I know there's one thing I got you that's still unopened.
I'm usually one that if I need something though throughout the year, I'll get it. Or it's on the budget. So I feel like for Christmas, we don't really do things we need for each other.
We do meaningful stuff, but
it's more sentimental, I would say.
Yeah.
But we're not really one to be if we need something, we'll get it throughout the year and budget for it. I don't know. I guess for me, I love giving gifts, but I'm okay if I don't get gifts. Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that? Or do you think it's just because of our age? Obviously with Christmas, it's you're not a kid anymore. I'm more practical about it.
I'm more just, if it's a creative gift from Jaden or from you, something that's a little bit more meaningful. Because, let's be honest, we're all pulling from the same bank account.
Right, so that's the other thing. It's even to surprise you with something, you would know right away. Why'd you buy that?
But...
All right, so let's talk about setting a realistic holiday budget. Break down your expenses into categories like gifts, food, and decorations. Here's a stat from the Conference Board in 2024. Consumers plan to spend $677 on gifts and $387 on non-gift items like food and decorations this year. One tip I have for that is when we moved into our first house that we bought, I kind of upgraded my Christmas decor and found some cute vintage pieces, and I've kept those really nice the way I wrap them and put them away. So this year when I unboxed all the Christmas items, I didn't have to get one new thing.
And we also do that with Poppy's stuff too, where all of her Christmas books or Christmas stuffed animals, once Christmas is done, we put it all in a box, and every year when we take it out, she's surprised because she's like, wait, all these, they're all new toys again, and we didn't have to buy anything new.
And last year we put away, she's really into this reindeer Rudolph, only an iconic figure. And she was talking about it. Remember we put it away? We had boxed up all the items, put everything away, and she was so thrown off that her Rudolph was in storage. And she would ask us probably every month.
To the North Pole.
Yeah, we said he went back to the North Pole. But every month she'd be like, oh, I really miss my reindeer, my Rudolph.
So she did find him when I was cleaning the storage for something else. And so she's had Rudolph out since September, which is fine.
She's on cloud nine with it. It's so cute.
But that's been one really good way we've been able to save. It's just by reusing Christmas decor and gifts that the kids have received and that we've collected over time.
And I always save any gift bags. So I do like to keep my gift bags pretty organized with anytime I get a Christmas gift, I save the bag and I'll use it for the next year. One idea that we were playing around with for this year is the 4 gift rule. So it's 4 items. So it's something they want, something they need, something to wear, and something to read. And that's a good way to simplify the gift giving for the kids with 4 items. So they're each getting 4 items. Not one person is getting more or less depending on the budget, because some items can be more expensive even if they're smaller, and it could feel a little unbalanced with if you have multiple kids. So I like the idea of that because we do get our kids things they need throughout the year. Another idea that we thought about was having some more creative gifts in their stocking. So they have the 4 gifts under the tree, and then stocking is something that we usually open up for after we have lunch together. So we'll watch a Christmas movie, and then stockings are always usually later in the day that we'll open up together.
A lot of the times when we fill the stockings, it's just a bunch of stuff.
It's just like random.
Yeah, it's just like things like little tchotchkes, and you're just wrapping them up just to throw them in to fill the stocking. Like there's really no meaning behind it.
And also because we went through this whole declutter of our house and the storage units, I really don't want to be just buying random things to say I got gifts and then having to put them away. It's like afterwards you actually have to organize and file things away. So I'm really being intentional this year with not only our Christmas budget, but thinking about starting these things so our kids can look forward to this each year. I think this approach keeps the focus on meaningful and useful gifts while avoiding unnecessary spending.
No, I love it because then you're not so overwhelmed with trying to, how many gifts did I get Jade and how many gifts did I get Poppy? There's sometimes we bought gifts way in advance and hid them, and then January, February rolls around and we actually found them, like, great. So I think just when you start to just get gifts to get gifts, you lose track. You lose track of how many gifts you got. You lose track of your spending. And just keeping it down to the 4, each one has a purpose and it's meaningful. I love it. I can't wait to implement it this year.
I think Elliot and Poppy won't really know a difference because it's going to be something new. Jaden, I feel like we get her less gifts because they're more of investment pieces or something that she can use again and again, especially because she's almost an adult now. So I think her Christmas even changes a little bit. It's not going to be like all the same as, right? Would it?
I think we would do more adult focused, right?
Yeah, like things that she would actually need, or
like in college. Especially
when she's moved out and comes home for Christmas.
So another thing that we had thought about doing this year is having a shared family gift. We don't really know what that quite looks like. Maybe something outdoors, or we're really not too sure. But one big family gift that we can all share, have family time together with.
And big, not meaning expensive, but
yeah, just like a
shared gift.
Yeah. But I think that's
for example, like a swing set or something that they can go outside and play with together. A board game.
Something that brings the family together.
So we thought that would be a fun category to do, to where every Christmas they're excited about what's the shared gift, what is it going to be.
I think it'll be fun. I think we're on the right track. All this stuff is just a trial and error and learning from our own experiences, and I think we've gotten to a place to where we've done the extravagant Christmases. We've lived through the not so extravagant Christmases, and when we look back,
it can be fun both ways, though.
Yeah, and when we look back, like, what does that really stand out? Do you really remember that one gift, or do you remember just being with your family or doing the Christmas activities, baking cookies, etc.? So
yeah, I think the experiences is what we always come back to. Is those are the things that we want to continue to invest in. So, for example, we'll go to Holiday Road, which is in Calabasas, but trying to find things around your city where you can look at Christmas lights, tree lighting ceremonies. Any of the free things are fun too. The parks will usually put something on. So usually I'll go on the Parks and Rec site and see for the cities around our neighborhoods too, to what's happening and what we can get involved with. Mm-hmm. Story times for kids that are Christmas focused. There's a lot of church things they're putting on, activities, plays. So really just soaking in those family moments is really what makes Christmas special for us, and then focusing on Jesus' birth. Yeah. I was doing a deep dive into how Christmas even went with Santa and all this. I was like, where did this even come from? Because it seemed like...
What do you mean? Oh, how was
much
invented?
Well, how much it is focused on like
the gift giving.
Like, where did that come from? And I was thinking it was because of the three wise men with Jesus' birth. I'm like, that makes sense. And I've known that a few people will do the gold, myrrh, and incense. Like, they'll try to make that like the three gifts they give their kids, but like make it relate back.
Yeah.
I like that idea too. But I guess in the 1940s, when... I could be getting this wrong, so don't exactly quote me on this. But stores really capitalized on the fact that people were doing the gift giving with Santa and like Saint Nick in 1930s. I guess he would go to orphanages, or was it earlier than that?
It was Saint Nicholas?
Saint Nicholas. Like, he actually was promoting generosity and giving gifts to orphanages. Like, from an amazing thing of just blessing a little bit of kids, it turned into the stores really taking advantage and like... Not taking advantage, because we live...
Kind of did, because they were just like...
Well, like, this is a perfect time for people to buy gifts, exactly. Like going all in. But I do think it added this extra pressure for people to feel like they have to buy so many gifts for all these people, when I think you could take a step back and think about, who do I actually want to give a gift to? And can those gifts be homemade items? Like, can it be cookies? Can it be having them over for dinner and each having a potluck? Like, it doesn't need to be... Does it always need to be a bought gift? And so I think that's changing the thinking about that for us. For what I'm going to do for our neighbors and some of our friends, I'm going to make chocolate cinnamon sourdough bread and put it in a cute wrapping, and then have a handwritten letter.
I think that's a good gift.
I think it's thoughtful, and it does take me time, and it's also going to be really good. So thinking about just shifting our mentality of thinking about what gifts that we can do that are still fun and meaningful, but they don't put on this huge pressure of like, I have to go out and buy all these gifts.
Especially as we're adults and we have friends and family, you're really just swapping your cash.
Right.
You know, if I bought you a shirt and then you're buying me shoes,
it's like, for me and my friends don't buy gifts for each other anymore. We used to, but then the same thing, we were swapping gift cards, and we're like, this is kind of dumb.
I would prefer just having a dinner.
Yeah.
Like, if my friend reached out, hey, let's get a Christmas dinner, or let's get a Thanksgiving dinner, and then just hanging out with the families. And that experience is worth more to me than just, here, I dropped off a gift for you.
Right. And that's what we did last year for our friends. We did a sushi dinner. So it was right after we had Elliot. Yeah, we had everyone over. He was so tiny. Yeah. We had everyone over, and we did sushi. They come over and they do sushi dinners in the LA area. It was an amazing sushi dinner.
One of the
best. It was so much fun, and every one of our friends afterwards was like, wow, that was so much fun. It was almost like we were at a restaurant, but in our living room. Mm-hmm. I had such a great time with that. But thinking of those experiences that you can do that are a little bit different than the gifts.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love giving gifts. Gift giving is my love language. So I love giving gifts. And last year, when we were saying how we had so many gifts for Poppy and she was out on the scooter, I was wanting her to open them because I was excited about it. I was like, I can't wait for her to see what I got her, or what Santa got her too. But I felt like, maybe this was more fun for me than for her. So think of, like we said, the shared gifts, outdoor equipment, holiday experience. I think it's also good to balance fun with necessities. So if you're into traveling more for Christmas, then budget more for the travel aspect of that. If you're more into hosting, budget for that. Think about how you want to spend your holidays and budget accordingly. So when you go into it, there's a plan.
And you have a whole year to save for it.
Right. In this case, because it's Thanksgiving and Christmas or Hanukkah. Do they do gifts for that? I think there's gifts for every night for that.
I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, let's not quote us on.
Yeah, we're not exactly sure, but I know there's gift giving for different holidays too during this time. And just from this week, I would say just get your budget
Budget's going to be very key because then it prevents you from overspending. You're going into spending with a purpose, and maybe you don't even need to spend that much.
Right, or maybe you think, hey, I have $200 for this Christmas, and I need to make a lot of homemade gifts. Like that gives you a good idea of if you want to buy gifts, or because I do think that sometimes a gift giving, it does save time for buying something, or you can send it to someone who live out of state and you get the free shipping. It's already gift wrapped. So I do think there's a lot of that benefit sometimes when you're in a rush. But one of our other tips is, actually, I wanted to go back on this stat. So U.S. shoppers are expected to increase their holiday spending by 7% in 2024. So earlier we talked about the $1,000, but this year it's supposed to be $2,100, and that's from Vogue Business. So that, especially if you're not budgeting for it, can feel like it's out of control.
It can get out of control real quick. But if you had the whole year, what is it, 12 months? But that's what, a little less than $200 a month if you put away. Like $180 to get you $2,100 for the year.
Now that's if you want to spend that much, but if you want to spend less, you can. I think having the monthly budget is really important because then you can see, do I have a little bit of wiggle room to spend a little bit more this time, or do I not want to go too crazy because January, you don't want to have those extra payments and be in debt.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that we wanted to do, and I think it would be beneficial for larger families, and we did this 2 years ago. I believe we did do this 2 years ago. We did a Secret Santa, and I believe we had 15 of us, and that way you're only really buying one gift.
Yeah, we spent, and we put a spending limit on. Mm-hmm. So I think we said no more than $100, and there was an app that you put everyone's name in, and then it picks who everyone has.
And I'm sure you can just Google it and find something really easy to do that.
Or put everyone's name in a hat and pick the name, and that way you're only buying that one gift, but you're still doing the exchange, and it's still fun to open it. Or you can do a white elephant gift. I don't know if I love those.
Wait, what's the difference between?
Because white elephant is like something random. It's like some knick-knack that you don't want.
But don't you trade it? Or
I don't know. Maybe white elephant is actually nicer. I don't know. I just always remember being like, I never liked the white elephant gifts we got. They were always just like junky.
Which then you can put a spin on the Secret Santa where you could put a dollar limit, $50, $100, or it has to be handmade, or it could just be books. So you can really have fun with it and tailor it to
have a theme.
Your own personal budget.
Another one I heard was you have the first initial of your name. The gift has to start with that. So there's ways to get creative and fun with it to where everyone's opening it up, and it is about the experience and the generosity, but the fun you guys are having together too.
What would you get me if that had to start with an A?
Wouldn't it have to start with my first name? B?
No, if you got me a gift, wouldn't it start with A?
Yeah, you're right. An animal.
What kind of animal?
Probably a stuffed one. What would you get me?
Bread.
You give me my own sourdough? You're like, here, I made this for you.
Just pulled it out of the fridge. Bread, butter, banana. There we go, a banana loaf.
Oh my gosh, bread, you could do a food-themed one. Food basket, like it's a little...
All with berries, blueberries.
I think people used to do that back in the day. They would bring over fruit baskets. Wasn't that a thing? When neighbors would bring over...
It was like a fruit cake.
Fruit cake, right?
They never look delicious. Have you ever seen a fruit cake? It looks awful.
Like, what does it look like?
It's like, the ones that I've seen, it looks very gelatin and hard, and there's like all these colors. I don't know. It just.
I was picturing like a edible arrangements. You know that thing where they have all those fruit? It's not like that.
No.
It's actually like a cake.
A cake that just seems like everyone just threw everything in it.
Oh, so don't give me that.
No.
Your name starts with F. Okay, so there's a stat in Journal Marketing 2021. Homemade gifts like baked goods or personalized gifts can be just as meaningful as store-bought presents. That was from a survey they did. So even though sometimes it feels like it might not be what people exactly want, it is feeling as meaningful. And I know when we tell Jada, when she says every time for our birthday, what do you guys want for a present? We always say we want something handmade. And she's like, ugh, that's so boring. She loves to shop and she wants to go out and get something, and she likes to be out at the mall. But my favorite gifts are the ones that have some type of meaning behind them.
Mm-hmm. I feel like if you get into a pinch, that's where you start off with, okay, I have this great idea, I'm going to create this gift, and then all of a sudden there's 2 days before you have to give the gift, and now you're just buying something.
Right.
And that's where the whole planning and budgeting comes into play.
Let's talk about some of our holiday traditions that don't break the bank.
Okay.
What's one that comes to mind?
Well, let's see.
There's
quite a few. I always love when we do cookies, especially now that Poppy's at an age where she can get really involved. And we just did that the other day. What were those cookies? Yeah. They were so good.
I love Ambitious Kitchen. She has a health food spin to a lot of her desserts. And her sugar cookies, I feel like they were made with coconut sugar. The frosting, sugar. Her recipe was really good.
Yeah.
Nothing artificial, no preservatives, no artificial dyes. So I love that sugar cookie recipe. It's on there. And I think that's really fun. We put on Christmas music.
It's just like a whole family experience, and it didn't really cost anything.
Right.
Most of the ingredients we have, but I love just spending time making something, and then we get to have fun with it and get into the Christmas spirit.
Baking together is always fun too, because the house smells so good. We have the fireplace on. And I know before we had our fireplace, we would have the fireplace on the TV. Remember when we didn't have a fireplace? I love that. And it had the crackle.
What are some other budget-friendly traditions we do?
We go look at Christmas lights.
Mm-hmm.
So we like to find neighborhoods around where we live. One year we were in New York and we went to Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, yep.
That was so much fun because it was actually really cold there. It did feel a lot more Christmassy.
I feel like there's a lot of spots. We live in the Pasadena area, but a lot of surrounding spots that have at least a couple of blocks with really great decorations. And last year we had everyone in the car and we drove up to Sierra Madre, and we were able to spend an hour and a half just walking around. Yeah, looking at all the Christmas lights.
Getting all cozy. So that's fun. So I like to, at the beginning of November, I'm already checking the dates for that. And I also check the admission prices, and we'll add that all into the budget. So I actually have like a line item called for farms, because a lot of farms have these Christmas holiday experiences. Mm-hmm. Even if you go to a Christmas tree farm, but a lot of times the admission's not that expensive, and you can just walk around, get hot chocolate, hot cider. I also like to look on Instagram I'll just search at the top, family-friendly holiday places to do in Southern California. And once you save one, I notice that my feed will get a lot. So right now I'm like deep in Christmas in my Explore page. So that's kind of nice because I'll save some ideas. Sometimes they're ones we've already gone to, but it'll give me different, or sometimes they're 7 hours away and it's like, I'm probably not going to drive up there. But kind of just gets your mind thinking of places around you.
I think we do a pretty good job at being able to find new experiences too. We have our traditional ones, and then every year we find something typically new.
Yeah, this weekend we're going to a Christmas tree lighting ceremony, and I think that will be fun. That doesn't a Christmas tree lighting ceremony remind you of just a Hallmark movie where it's like the whole town gets together?
Every Hallmark movie.
What is another thing that stands out as far as in general Christmas traditions that we do?
We do like a good Hallmark movie. I don't know if
we'll all get in pajamas.
It's kind of I make sure that I get on my YouTube TV and I record every single new holiday Hallmark movie because we've watched the previous year.
We're nuts about it.
We have that all recorded.
It's so bizarre how obsessed we are with them. And they're so cheeseball sometimes. But they're so cute. I love them.
There's probably 3 storylines that they rotate throughout all 20 videos, but we still watch them.
I love it, yeah.
And Poppy, it's funny because she's actually paying attention. And
I know. When last movie, she wanted to go to the snow. Snow. She's never been to the snow except when she was 4 months old, so she doesn't remember it.
She totally follows the storyline.
It's so cute. She'll ask me questions. She'll laugh when I'm like, oh, you think that joke's funny too? So cute. So I think it's something that she's thinks about it as cozy. We're in our pajamas.
Sometimes we have a
she has hot
slice of pumpkin
chocolate.
pie.
Yeah, it's fun for her.
It's an event.
Oh, something I like to do. We have multiple Christmas trees up in our house, and one of them is a memory tree. I'm looking at it right now. So if we do something memorable throughout the year, we'll usually get an ornament for that event. Like say we go somewhere and it really stands out in our mind, we want to remember it, we'll buy an ornament. Usually they have Christmas ornaments at these gift shops if you go somewhere.
I feel like everywhere we've traveled, somewhere there's a gift shop that has ornaments.
Right.
We've never had to worry about that.
Or even if it's something that, like for example, this year I got one that's a microphone for the podcast. So, and it'll say 2024 on it. So next year when I open it up, we'll remember that we launched the podcast. So it has all these different milestones. Like I'm looking at it right now. One of them is from a photo when Poppy was born, and Jaden's picture is there. There's Jay's first cheerleading ornament I bought from that year, and all of them have the years on it.
Our first cruise.
Yes.
Our first Disney cruise.
Oh my gosh, but you know what was a bummer is when you're opening these up, Poppy actually dropped one of them that was from like 10 years ago. I was like, oh no. I was actually just sad because it's like, dang it. I should have taken a photo of that before it broke.
I had a feeling it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I was just hoping it wasn't going to be as bad. But yeah, that was a 10-year ornament. But
you know, we had the memories while we did.
Memories, and it is what it is.
You're going to have things broken if you have kids in your house.
Yeah.
But I like when we set up the Christmas trees, that we have some that just have lights and are very simple decor, but the memory tree is really fun to open those ornaments up, and we always do it together because it's fun to go through it together and think about it.
And, yeah.
So I do like to make sure I buy some type of milestone for the year that we can add to the, kind of like what set apart that year that when we look back.
Yeah. And that all goes to just really looking back and what you're grateful for too. Mm-hmm. I mean, this whole tree is just memories of being a family trips, and all the grateful things that we've had over the years.
And it has a lot of homemade gifts on there, or homemade ornaments from when Jay was little too. I made them into, I just hung the little hook on them, and you can really make anything an ornament. So anything? I like that. I mean, maybe not. I need to think of what Jaden's ornament is going to be this year. Something with college applications. We'll see. We usually like to do the ornaments on Christmas Eve, though. We'll get the memory ornaments.
Yeah.
What will Elliot's be? It's tough,
well, hopefully
right?
maybe he can walk before.
He did take his first steps.
He had a good amount of steps, so we're just hoping.
True. Maybe I'll get him.
Like him, just like.
Or I'll say 1-year-old. I don't know.
No, it has to be a little bit more.
It has to be something interesting. Well, the memory tree is something I highly recommend doing. Something that's also a good idea is to start shopping early. So this stat is from NBC. Procrastinators spend up to 25% more on gifts compared to early planners. Avoid last minute shopping by planning ahead and spreading out purchases. And I do think that you get the benefit of the free shipping.
With all the Black Friday deals, I felt like I really utilized last year because I was aware of when they were going to go live. Now, I didn't have a plan, which...
You just were randomly shopping.
Yeah, then I just overspent. But you can really find some great deals through the various retailers as long as you plan ahead. Mm-hmm. And then you'll get it shipped before Christmas.
I love kind of planning that out. And last year, because we were going to go into labor, I had all the Christmas shopping done by November 1st. We had the tree set up. That was probably the earliest we had been most organized with having everything wrapped too, because I didn't want to go into labor and then come back home and we weren't really sure what was going to happen. So just planning for the unexpected. And what I found from that was I really felt like I can enjoy the time because I did it so early. I didn't really get some of those savings.
Yeah.
So you know what I did though? I did Labor Day sales. I did get some Labor Day sales. I remember that because that's when we had lost some of the things because I hid them too well. So dumb. But if you can plan ahead for the sales and knowing that even if you're budgeting each month, you could buy gifts throughout the year for the following year.
Yeah. I mean, if you're that far ahead,
and
you know exactly. If you already know this is going to be their want, the need.
Mm-hmm. And I like the 4 gifts idea for that because it makes you aware of what they want and what they need, right? Like I'd have to cue into what Jaden, I'm not one about saying like, what's on your Christmas list? What do you want? I just feel like that takes it away for us. Like
just give
that's
me a
not
list,
what it's
I'll
about.
buy the list, and then she gets it. It's just, yeah.
I don't like that. We've never done lists. So I like to be aware. And that's what one of the things I love about gift giving is being aware if someone says they really admired that, or they noticed something that was really cute. I'll later on go and get that thing. And I'm good at picking up on hints. And so I think that being aware of that throughout the year.
I feel like my mom's really good at that. I've said a few things just randomly, or she just sees, just by being in the house, like she noticed my wallet was broken, and then that Christmas I got a new wallet.
Right. She's also good at picking up cues. All right. So you can also use tools like Honey or Google Shopping to ensure the best deal if you compare prices. Have you ever used those before?
I've used Honey. Honey's been really good. Also,
how does that make money though? How does Honey make money? Like,
I have no idea. I'm sure they're using your data somehow.
Right.
But I get points,
mining
or
your
they
data.
just tell us. But even Amazon, you can see the price history of certain items.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are thinking of that particular gift throughout the year, you can check the history of where that item was at, and then see how it's been trending, because those prices do fluctuate.
Shoppers saved an average of 30% during Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales in 2023. So that's pretty good savings if you go into it with a plan and you're not buying those deals with debt.
Yeah, because if you're at that 2,100, 30% of that.
It's pretty good. You can put that to something
$600.
else. Has there ever been a gift that you've regretted?
There's been gifts that I wish I would be able to use more.
Like what?
I don't know.
Give me an example.
I feel like I should be using my drone stuff more. Those were gifts. You mean like a gift I gave to you that I regret?
No, like, did I ever get you a gift? Or did anyone get you a gift where you're like, could have done without?
No. I feel like everything's pretty meaningful. Jaden gave me a pack of pens.
She did not.
1 year.
For what? Just.
She's like, oh, you needed pens.
Oh, that's cute. Was she younger?
It's like 2 years ago, so no.
She's like, here's some pens.
I think it was a rough year. Didn't budget. I don't know.
Were you trying to write a lot of things and she noticed that? I feel like you're always
maybe
typing.
One time she was like, do we have any pens? And I said no. So she
really bought them for herself.
In the back of her mind. Do you have any gift regrets?
I think the biggest gift regret was buying so many things, thinking that they needed to open so many things on Christmas morning, when really the Christmas breakfast and being together and savoring opening, I feel like, gifts that they would use more and more instead of like junky ones.
Yeah.
So being more mindful of the things we get, I do have to put them away.
Yeah, where are you going to store it?
Mm-hmm. So I really want to be thinking about things that Jaden's really into beauty products. She's into jewelry. So I'm thinking about those things where it's like something that she can also take with her when she moves out.
You know what we should do? It's just go in and wrap one of her perfumes.
She would never know. No. She's obsessed with perfume. She has so many perfume bottles. I could literally wrap it and she would never know.
She's like, oh, thanks.
I wrapped one of her shoes one year, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Remember she was really into Nikes at one point, the Air Jordans? And I wrapped them just to see if she would notice. And then she did. She kind of noticed. Not for Christmas. I just wrapped it to see because she had so many pairs at the time.
It's fun being parents.
Yeah, we play so many pranks on her. Yeah, a lot of those pranks happened during 2020 when we had a lot of time on our hands. But she always talks about that. She's like, all you do is think about pranks to... I was like, well, now we have 2 other kids, so we don't have as much time on our hands.
I know. She's going to look back and be like, my parents loved me.
We had a really good prank plan for Halloween, and then it fell through.
We just couldn't figure out the logistics. But
we still need to do it, though, because she would like actually be so scared.
Yeah. Consumers who use credit cards spend 15 to 20% more than those who pay with cash. It's from the Journal of Consumer Research 2021.
And mainly because it's a spending habit, it's a behavioral habit. So when you think about a credit card that you have to pay it later, it's not the immediate feeling of the money going out is not as urgent versus cash or debit card. You don't want to go under on your bank account. It's a little bit more urgency to make sure that you actually have what you have in there. That's why we like to stick to using our debit cards. Stay focused on goals. Remember, every dollar you save during the holidays can go towards long-term goals for your family.
I really like this concept because, yes, you're saying no to one thing, but you're saying yes to another. So by not overspending, by not buying that super expensive gift that you have to use your credit card for, and being mindful of how your gift giving is, going that route, you're able to say yes to your long-term family goals. Like, what are you guys saving for? Or
could you give us an example for us? What would you say?
I think a big thing for us when we've gone through this financial minimalism mindset is it's not like we're giving things away or we're getting rid of things, but it's switching the mentality to be more mindful. Mm-hmm. Right? How are we spending our money? What are we budgeting for? And then when we do trim the fat, what are we using that extra money for? And for us, it's, investing for our long-term plan. But we have a long-term plan in place where we know where that extra money is going towards because it's going to help us in the long term.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I like too about cutting back a little bit on the gifts and doing the family experiences is this year we're going to be going to the Bahamas. Mm-hmm. So we're doing the Bahamas for a couple days. Not the Bahamas. What? Am I good?
Where?
Carmel Valley Ranch.
Oh, it's like...
What?
Bahamas?
That's in the new year. Never mind.
That was more like...
No, but Carmel Valley Ranch, it's such a fun place when they have all the Christmas decor set up and getting away for a couple of days. We're going to be all outside together. The food is going to be very festive, taking walks, and I think that's really exciting. It's something different that typically I don't feel like we travel that much during Christmas.
No.
We try to be home.
We did stay there, I don't know how many years ago, was it 3? It was before Poppy.
No, we went with Elliot last year.
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking about another place. Oh my God,
which one are you thinking of?
All over.
Do we know what year it is? What one are you thinking of?
The one closer to Santa Barbara.
That one's really nice too. The Montecito one?
No, not the Montecito. The one that's by the train tracks. Remember we brought the dogs?
Yeah, that's so Christmassy and festive. They have a really cute brunch for kids.
Mm-hmm. But I remember that, and that was years ago. Clearly, I don't remember the name, but...
This also reminds me, if you're in the LA area, the Langham in Pasadena puts on a really cute... They have a Nutcracker vibe this year. They do a celebration. You can go see their tree on the lawn. It's really cute for kids.
That's a tree lighting, too.
That's really cute. So those are some fun things to look at. Just like you said, the saying no, but...
Yeah, we're trimming down on the gifts. We have the budget set, but then we're using what we're doing with that to have these experiences.
I love that. And those are what's really going to matter in the long term. Mm-hmm. So we have this thing called the Giving Manger, and it has... I think one of the things about giving during the season doesn't always need to be for each other. We can be giving to other people or reaching out and helping someone else that's in need. And the Giving Manger is nice for the kids because you add the little hay pieces to the Jesus manger, and it's for acts of kindness. So if you do something nice for your brother, let's say, your sister, and this is for like Poppy and being kind to others, like keeping it very simple for her to understand, she gets to add a piece of hay to the manger until that manger is filled up. And it's a fun activity talking about the meaning of Christmas. And another way that we're looking forward to this year is supporting Project Giving Light, which is a nonprofit that one of my friends introduced me to. And they create birthday boxes for kids who are in need. And so together as a family, we're going to be doing it on one night, putting together a box for these kids. And so that was also an experience, thinking about giving gifts for others in that way. It's having these conversations about that with our kids is really important. We also support New Breath Ministries, and they help young moms, and they do Christmas drop-offs. And so we're hoping to do the drop-offs with them this year.
And Saving Innocence, they do Thanksgiving baskets,
yes,
which we've done that a couple years in a row.
And that's something to come together and do as a family. But also, Jaden and I would do the volunteer at their Christmas event that they put on for the youth. So there's different ways to also be giving back with your family, but it's also having these important conversations of it doesn't always need to be for each other. We can be giving in ways that blesses other people. I like that we do on Christmas Day that we don't go anywhere. We don't see extended family. We're not on a flight. We're not driving anywhere. And that's always been a really good boundary that we've established, that Christmas Day, we're in our pajamas. We're not seeing anyone else. I think it's been nice because it really connects us back to each other and just like having that like protected time for our immediate family.
Yeah, just the one-on-one and not being distracted by everything else that's going on, or having to drive to multiple houses throughout Christmas Day.
Because it does add a lot of chaos. We've done it before.
Yeah.
And after a few of those experiences, we thought this is the morning of Christmas shouldn't be about the stress of trying to please everybody else. You really have to think of like what you want for yourself that day, what you want for your family, or if it's you and your spouse, like what do you guys see for yourself, and creating those traditions that you can pass on to your kids too. One thing I like to do after, and with our budget meetings, we like to do this in January, is reflect over the last year in general. But it's also a nice time to reflect on our Christmas spending and see what we should be budgeting for the following year. And I know it seems very in advance. It's like you just finished all of this and you're looking at it in January. But I like to reflect and see how much did we spend? How much did we actually do that? Like, did we stick to the budget? Could we have made adjustments? And I think that's something nice in January to reflect on and see, like, how could it have been more efficient? And then how do we slot that amount in for each month to account?
It's the perfect time to do it. In January, you're 2025, get all your New Year's resolutions in, get your budget under check. I think it's just having that peace of mind, but you need to make sure that you do it, because if you don't, right after Christmas and you're putting Christmas stuff away and life starts to happen and then a couple months go by and then you just don't end up doing it.
Right.
So and it doesn't even take that long. Sit down for 2 hours and review everything and have a solid plan for next year and just put it on the budget.
So for example, analyzing the spending habits helps you plan better for next year. For instance, knowing you overspent on decorations may help you adjust for the future. Also looking at, did we do more family travel? Did we do more events that we could have budgeted better for? Just having that overall bird's eye view.
Yeah, what events had we done that now we're going to add to next year? Or what did we do that we were like, maybe not so much? I mean, everything that we've done so far I've been completely happy with. It's been fun family time. But yeah, just to get an overall general review.
I would want to, we've talked about this for the past few years, that we need to find one of those really small towns that are in Hallmark movies and go for a weekend.
There's that list. Isn't it like the top 50
Christmas towns?
Christmas towns?
I think that would be something really fun to do next year, because we're already doing Carmel Valley Ranch, and I think that's enough time to be gone.
What is that place up by Santa Barbara? Remember that small town that we went to, but it was Dutch? That was so cool. But it was during...
What is it called again?
During summer.
That is... Oh my gosh, we should totally go there for even a day. We could just drive up there.
It was 3 hours maybe?
I'm totally blanking on the name. It's a Dutch town. Solving. Am I dumb? I could...
Oh, that's where we get the
Solving Bakery. Okay.
Gingerbread house, yep.
We are just really... We need to go on a walk and refresh.
We're not great at recalling specific details, but Solving, a really cute town, and I'm sure they do Christmas. That's one place
so pretty.
I want to put on my list.
Maybe we should plan to go for that next year, since we were doing Carmel Valley this year.
Yeah. Or you hit it on the way back down.
Ooh, go for the day?
Like go to Carmel, and then when we're done, as we're driving back down, we can just stop for like
lunch or that. Something. Okay. Put it on the calendar. We're doing it. Love that. During January, you would also reflect on how the spending went, think about the budget amount that you're good with for next year, and start a holiday savings fund in January. So, for example, $50 per month adds up to $600 by next December. It seems small, but when the time comes and that money, even if you want to put them in cash and envelopes and you know that you'll save them until that time, And you can use that money right in November when you're seeing some of these Black Friday sales and you think, I'm so glad I saved for this and I'm going into this with a plan.
Or also schedule it within your bank account. We have monthly deposits into our savings account and we don't have to do it, it's just reoccurring. So right in Jan 1, you can schedule a reoccurring deposit into your savings account for X amount of dollars. And then as you live, you're not having to constantly think, oh, I need to put the Christmas money away.
Mm-hmm. Now, would it be worthwhile to put it in a high yield savings account or no, depending on the amount?
Yeah, there might be minimums that you need to meet. It's not like you can throw in like $50 into a CD.
Right. It's not really helpful.
Yeah.
But if it's a certain amount that you put away, you could put it in something to help make it some money for a year.
Yeah, 4 or 5%.
Or you put the whole amount at the beginning of the year and you let it sit there.
Yeah, if you're able to.
I think we can do an investing episode on what we've learned just recently too by doing a deep dive.
Stuff.
We've learned a lot recently and we would love to keep the episode really basic. We're trying to see if we can get the person who's been helping us on the episode. So we'll keep you guys posted in the loop on that.
It's crazy.
It's really exciting though.
Yeah. I think this Christmas I'm excited to see how it's gonna go because we're gonna be more intentional about it. I love starting the new tradition of the four gifts per child, creating family memories. It really kind of reels us in to be like, okay, what can I do to be more creative? I think I'm excited because the mind shift, we are reeling it back in.
I think it goes back to being intentional about the why behind it. And if anything, that's what I would really want to convey from this episode is that all these little things you're doing them anyway. So go into them with more of a plan and a purposeful idea about it in advance. So then you do feel excited and afterwards feel accomplished that you stuck to your goal, that you had a positive Christmas experience and you don't come out of it with debt.
The holidays are going to come every year. They're always there. So just plan ahead, be purposeful.
Another thing is just the encouragement that holidays don't have to be stressful or putting this added pressure of all the things you have to do.
Or buy.
Right, or buy, and make a plan of how you want to spend your time, what's important to you, what boundaries do you need to set in place. Boundaries in your budgeting, your time. Think about all this through a very intentional lens. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. We hope you learned something valuable. Leave us a comment. New episodes drop every Thursday on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube.
Thanks for sharing your time.